And of course, I'm looking over and my 3D printer is going nuts.
I can't hear it though. So.
You can't hear it, but I can see it's lifted a couple of parts off, so I'm gonna...
Oh! Can't get out and do anything with it.
Great time to start the show. I can cancel it from here, so...
There you go.
Cancel. Yes, cancel. Go. Z up. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, it butchered that. Whew. Caught it before it spaghettied, but it all curled up on itself, and it was ready to grab.
It's like a dead spider.
Yeah. Yeah, dead spider. I think that's the appropriate one. Oh, the joys of 3D printing. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 227? I'm assuming. I'm guessing. Hold on. Wait. 227. Your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Steve O'Malley.
Welcome to the show, all. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday night, or in the replay on... Good Lord. Or over in podcast form, over on Anchor.fm, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. It's going to be an incredibly smooth show. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment. Tonight there will be some Star Trek. We read all super chats on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat, and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat or the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to the Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
And we are awesome.
We are awesome.
We're awesome. I mean, not to toot my own horn or anything.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You know,
yeah.
It's objectively, we're awesome.
Yeah.
Just.
How you doing tonight, Steve?
Pretty good. I mean, I think we're discussing, we're doing good, but we're tired, which, any
I'm out of coffee.
Middle-aged adult with kids is gonna feel, right?
Yes.
So.
That's my second coffee of the night, by the way, and I'm still just like.
Yeah, I took a bunch of B complex boosters about an hour and a half ago. We'll see if that kicks in.
Yeah.
Usually makes me feel a little better.
Ooh.
But hey, you know what? I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
Still going to be a good show. We will.
Still gonna be a good show.
We will make it happen one way or the other. The Raspberry Pi community, or one user in particular, proves that 1984 can live on even today. Let's see. Google casually announces Steam for ChromeOS. DirectStorage is now available on Microsoft, or on Windows, at least the API is. Intel CPU is about to get a little bit slower again, thanks to Spectre V2. Microsoft might have accidentally revealed that ads are coming to Windows 11 in the File Explorer. You know, the thing that I've said has been coming for the last 5 years because we haven't done anything, and they've kind of lulled us into oh, that's just what Windows does now. Yeah. They already display ads on the welcome screen. They already display ads in the start menu. Guess what? File Explorer is next. Bushmill's put out a whiskey.
They always put out whiskeys.
Yeah.
I think you get a free whiskey.
Oh, you get a free whiskey. Okay.
You get whiskey.
Yes.
Or free. I think it's free cocktail or free whiskey. I can't remember which.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah, for ye olde Saint Patty's Day.
Aye. Yes, for Saint Patric.
Yes. I won't do the Irish accent just because I know people over there and I suck at it.
You don't want to insult them?
I don't want to insult them. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I don't do accents, just voices. Budweiser debuts a new Supreme beer, and Super Nintendo World is coming to the US. Very cool. Steve, besides tired, how are you doing tonight?
Good.
Old buddy, old pal.
I got my little hat going on here. It's tucked into my headset, so it's not gonna fall off for a while.
I'm loving the hat.
Yeah, it's good. Stylish.
Yes.
I know we're a day early, but yeah, got a little St. Patrick's Day mood going on here.
You know what? It's St. Patty's Day somewhere.
Yeah, I got my mug here.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah. See, I'm all decked out.
I'm not so decked out. I'm not even wearing green. Well, I mean,
Well, I
I've
mean,
got
I'm a
green in
little
the mug.
early. I'm a little like some people. They just can't wait for Christmas. They decorate like a whole month early. I'm that for Saint Patrick's Day. I'll start, dyeing everything green a couple weeks before, paint my fingernails green, all those kind of green things.
Zachary,
Just start drinking whiskey.
Zachary, hitting us with his monthly 10% tithe.
Oh wow, Zachary.
$500.
Whoa.
Let's start the night off right, ladies and gentlemen. I think I need some Irish whiskey now.
There you go.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna grab some Irish. Look what I got. Know what I've got.
You got some Jameson cask strength stuff?
Well, I had some Jameson 18 last year.
Oh,
and
that's good.
I had mostly polished off the bottle, but I decided to add like the last like 2 fingers of the bottle into my infinity bottle.
Oh, nice.
And that infinity bottle is magical. So I think
You still have some in there.
in honor of Zachary and in honor of St. Patty's Day, I'm going to pour myself a little finger out of my infinity bottle.
There you go.
Hold on one sec.
Yeah. No, we keep trying to get Jeff to have a pickle beer. John gave him one, and every time Zach puts up a really nice super chat, we always try to egg him on to have the pickle beer, but yet he still refuses. And it's not that bad, honestly. It's not that bad. Even if you don't like pickles, it's not that bad. All right, he's back.
All right. So
we can quit talking about how much of a wussy is for not drinking that pickle beer now.
So yeah, this is my infinity bottle. This is a decanter that I got for Christmas, I think in 2017, right after I started the channel. And this has actually been on the shelf like behind my studio in every single studio since December 2017.
Yeah, it's been there for a long time.
Yeah. So this has been my infinity bottle since then, and it's the give an ounce, take an ounce kind of thing. Yeah. So I'll pour myself a good little measure of that. Get this night started right. Steve, what are you drinking?
Okay, so I'm not 100% sure if I had this before on the show, but I grabbed it because I was kind of in the mood for a New England IPA. So I have Synonymous from Cushwa Brewing. I know I had 2 cans of it, and I can only find one, so I might have had it before, but I can't remember. That's kind of the downfall of drinking a lot of beer. You forget things. And second of all, this one I'm most excited about. This is a Great Notion. It's called Unbeatable. We got a gorilla riding a rhinoceros on the can there. Looks awesome. This is a 12.2% barley wine that's with vanilla and coconut. So it's a vanilla coconut barley wine. Very excited about that one. And last but not least, and this is just in case I run out, which I don't think I will tonight, but we'll see. Silver Falls Brewing, which isn't too far from where I live. Got the Starry Night, just their stout. We'll see how that goes. I haven't had it. We'll see.
Very cool. So I'm obviously starting off with my Infinity whiskey, and a couple people are asking, "What the heck is in an Infinity bottle?" For those,
it's like the Infinity Stones. If you collect them all, you can stop time.
Yeah. Whew. There we go. An Infinity bottle is a fifth of whiskey that every whiskey bottle that you get down to like the last ounce of, you just pour that bottle into your Infinity bottle. The ones that you like, not the ones that you bought and went like, nah, that's for friends who come over.
Yeah.
No, the bottles that you like, the last ounce, you put into your Infinity bottle until you fill it up to a fifth. And then the idea is that it's gathered all of the whiskey flavors that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And then, once you have a full fifth, if you pour an ounce out, you give an ounce back to the bottle of another bottle. And so you would take another whiskey that you like. So say like, you know what? The Infinity bottle is pretty good, but I want a little bit more spice. So I'm going to add an ounce of rye to it. And it becomes your favorite whiskey.
Yeah. Because it's got an amalgam of all the flavors that you enjoy.
Right. And so this is a lot of, like I said, there's like 2 fingers of Jameson 18 in here. That's how I kind of kickstarted this this last year. There's a lot of rye in here, so it's a spicier and thinner type whiskey. It doesn't have a lot of legs, but it's just tasty. Like, it's got all those really nice flavors that I like, without being like just too bourbon or honey or caramely or things like that.
It's obviously nothing that you can buy off the shelf.
Right. This is my personal favorite whiskey.
Is if you enjoy it, like, this is the only time you're gonna, because next time you pour something, it's gonna be slightly different, but close. But it's still gonna be something you enjoy. So
correct. The Tech Okie sends over $50, drinking an Imperial Stout from Kokendorfer Brewing Company out of Duncan, Oklahoma. Cheers, gentlemen. Cheers, good sir.
Cheers. Absolutely.
And Tech Ego 1 sends over $75. Only thing I have at work tomorrow is an afternoon meeting, so for the first time ever, I'll be here for the whole show. Good evening, Jeff and Steve. Keep up the great show and great news.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
Although
to that.
I don't have anything in my cup
Steve,
yet.
what the heck?
I have to rectify that. This is a travesty. A tragedy. Oh man. Okay, this is foaming up way too fast.
So I've got a couple of beers that I have never tried before.
Okay.
So from New Image Brewing is the Double Double Double. This is a triple dry hopped double IPA.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like In and Out flavored. The double double.
Yeah.
The double,
it's
animal style beer.
It's Simcoe, Strata, and Idaho Gem hops, and it is triple dry hopped with those 3 hops.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. I think this is like 9.4, 9.5.
That's gonna be good, because if it's got a nice sweet malty flavor, that's gonna go awesome.
To tell you how much I'm looking forward to this beer, I actually found this beer on clearance. They were
where at?
At my local place that I buy beer at.
Is it still there?
It's
Can I
not.
go get some?
I bought the last 2 cans. They were clearancing it for $6 a pint.
Okay, so
that was like the half price.
I did find, actually, they had, I haven't tried it yet. They had the Firestone Walker's Dulce de Leche Stout.
Ooh.
But it was like $3 for a 6-pack. Yeah, it was
what?
$2.95 for a 6-pack. I swear it was a clearance. It was a clearance. So I'm like, I gotta get some. It's $3 for. You don't see that anywhere anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, my local store is amazing because about once every 2 to 3 weeks, they will clearance out a bunch of beer that has sat on their shelf for a month. And it's just to make room for new beer to come in. It's not like it didn't sell very well. It's just that, you know what, we've had this one for a month. Let's cycle it out and let's get the next case in. And so we get stuff like this, where this is probably a fantastic beer.
Oh, I hope so.
Clearanced for $6 a pint. But I find great stuff there all the time.
I mean, 9% for $6 a pint is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, you pay for that at a tap house, that's gonna probably be at least $9, I would say, for a 12 ounce. Yeah, around that, or 16 ounce, I'd say. Because usually they only give you 8-ounce pours.
Right.
At about $6 for 8 ounce.
Right.
For something about 9%.
Yeah. So yeah, if you ever go to a tap house, this is a phenomenal deal.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nicola wants to know. So if I had a Redbreast 21 pot still whiskey, and it would be my dram. Sure what that's. Sorry.
Look at the head on this thing. Look at this. It just and it doesn't want to go away. This is like cartoon beer. This is like the beer you see like in cartoons.
Yeah.
Where the head just kind of sits there.
Yep. Sneeze every time intake the first sip of whiskey. Yeah. Typically my first sip will either get me a sneeze or it will like just make my mouth water like crazy.
Yeah. You get that feeling.
Yeah, you get that little feeling in your tonsils. And after that, I love straight whiskey. but that first sip always just hits me a little fun. Oh, that is delicious. Hey Jeff, how's the healing process and soreness going? Feeling significantly better, or at least I was until this morning. I spent a couple hours hunched over doing random things, and by noon I'm going, oh, I should not have done that. Oh, I was feeling so much better. But yeah, significantly better. I'm moving around a lot easier now. Thank you. I would not wish this injury on anyone. It's like a broken rib, but it takes like 3 times as long to heal from.
Oof.
So
yeah.
And slightest movements can just like send you all the way back to the beginning. I've done that a couple of times already, where I've just overdone myself ever so slightly. Yeah. And nope, back to square one.
Yeah, I kind of did something. Well, I didn't have that bad of a pain, but my parents were moving recently, and I went over to help them. And so, like the very first thing they asked me to pick up, I pulled my back. Very first thing.
It's okay. Like, John lost a finger.
Yeah. Well, yeah. John,
you got off easy, my friend.
That's true.
Yeah. Wait, what happened? I have what's called a xiphoid process injury. It is the bit of cartilage and connective soft tissue at the very base of your sternum. And apparently I damaged it or dislocated it or did whatever else. And because it's all soft tissue, there's no real muscle there, but it's all connected to muscles. It strains everything around that. And so the entire bottom of my rib cage literally feels like I've been punched about 1,000 times. It's kind of isolated itself on the right side, right underneath my bottom 2 ribs. And it just feels like a knotted muscle. And in fact, you can feel the knot in the muscle sometimes there from it pulling back, and then it's slowly stretching back to where it wants to be naturally. So, yeah, don't do that. I don't know how I did it, but I don't want to do it again.
That's the worst part. It's like you don't know how it happened, so you don't really know how to prevent it. So
right.
Yeah, it's all no fun.
Yeah, I started noticing it because baby X would sleep on my chest, and right around January, I would lay his head down here on my chest, and right where he laid his head, it just hurt, and I couldn't have his head laying right there in the center of my chest. I'd have to either pull him up or push him down, and that feeling just got worse and worse and worse, and eventually it's like, man, like, did I get shot in the liver and I don't know?
Yeah.
Is there a hole in that? Yeah. Not fun. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get into the news. Starting with what turned out to be kind of the title story of today's video, and that is the Raspberry Pi brings 1984 into 2022. What do we mean by that? Well, Steve, this is a little bit beyond me, but did you ever have an 8086 or an 8088 Intel?
No,
I know it still would have been early for 80s, you too. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, see, my dad worked for DEC. He worked for Digital.
Okay.
And we had a lot of the VAX systems in there, which I don't know which processor they had back then. I don't think it was Intel. Maybe it was, or it might have been a proprietary. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I was kind of young.
There was lots of proprietary gear still floating around.
Yes,
early to mid 80s.
So I'm thinking that it wasn't an Intel, but we did have stuff in the house. And they were huge, man. Those towers were. Do you think full towers are big?
No,
oh, man, dude, they were giant. I mean, I was smaller back then, so maybe it was.
I love how like everyone thinks of like huge towers as what is technically called mid case today. There's a reason it's called mid case. Is it's less than 3 feet tall.
Yes. And they had the gigantic floppies, the 7-inch floppies or something.
Yeah, 8-inch. Yeah, there was 8, 5 and a quarter, and then 3.5. Yeah,
the giant 8-inch floppies. Yeah.
Good times. Good. Well, an industrious tinkerer managed to get an 8086 Intel processor working natively over the bus with a Raspberry Pi 4 with a custom hat. And this is not emulating the process of an 8086. That's been done before and could probably be done in emulation on the Raspberry Pi.
No problem.
way faster than it's being done with real hardware, because as we find out, there's limitations of the bus, there's limitations of the voltage delivery, and even power delivery going to this ancient CPU that's 38 years old at this point. 1978, so it's 44 years old at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
Yeah. So basically what this guy has done is wire each pin individually into the Raspberry Pi and then be able to interface with those pins from the bus of the Pi. He's able to run native x86 code from the Raspberry Pi, essentially using the 8086 as a coprocessor. Now, it is not without its limitations, mind you. The 8086 was originally clocked at, I believe, 10 megahertz. He has his managing to run at about 0.3 megahertz.
Yes.
So an order of magnitude slower, but it does run and natively execute x86 code.
Yeah, he got MS-DOS running on that sucker.
Yes.
Yeah, good old MS-DOS.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget the guy's full name, but Grosset is his last name.
Grosset.
Yeah.
Robin Grosset.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can look it up on Twitter. He's up there.
Yep.
He's got pictures of it, and I think he explains it a little bit more on Twitter.
Yes. But I love these old projects like this. I love repurposing old hardware or reviving old hardware with new technology. It's super exciting. Some people say it's pointless, but you can't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. And even going back in CPU technology 44 years to go back to the 8086 CPU, which is the root of x86 execution. It's kind of hard to know the full arc of history, and then where do we go from here? Now, we've gone through a couple major breaks over history as far as standards go. Most famously, when we finally hit the AT standard, the IBM AT standard. And that's when you started seeing IBM or PC compatible. It was because they finally standardized on what a PC should be, what slots it should run, what the language and pinouts of the slots should be.
Right.
That's when ISA became a standard. That's when the power delivery became a standard.
Standard, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the mid-90s, we standardized on ATX as a power delivery. And so instead of a momentary switch on a permanent switch on the power supply to deliver power and then the PC just shot on, we had relays on the motherboard which would trigger the power supply to kick on or off. And that's still what we use today, is the ATX power standard. But we've gone from MS-DOS and OS2 Warp to Windows 95 on the DOS kernel, to NT and any flavor of Linux, and now we're here.
Yeah.
Like, all started with the 8086, and this guy has one running on a hat on the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, I had this book that was I might still be available to read, but it's called I think it's called PC Roadkill or something like that, and it's basically the history and stories of the early computer days, like 80s to early 90s, and about just kind of the crazy stuff that they did to make things work, like how Seagate once fooled investors by having boxes filled with bricks to make them think they had a bigger inventory than they did. Stuff like that.
Yes.
It's pretty fun read.
Yeah. One of my favorite tidbits of technology is the Maximum PC article that detailed the race to 1 gigahertz.
Yes.
And I still have this magazine in actual magazine form. I have it out in my garage. But this is actually the magazine article itself. And AMD beat Intel to the punch to 1 gigahertz.
Yeah.
And it's something not a lot of people remember, because you've got, the notable CPUs down here. You've got the 8088. You've got the Intel 286, 386, 486, and up through the lower echelons where the Wright brothers used to fly. And then you get up into the 100 megahertz and higher. You've got the original Pentium hitting 100 megahertz, then 133, then 200, then 233. And then the funny thing is, from May 97 to March of 2000, we went from 300 megahertz to 1 gigahertz.
Yeah, it was so fast.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember when the gigahertz first coming out and just people being so excited.
Right.
And envious of anybody who had one.
It was insane to be around that time and watch the speeds increase at such an insane amount. Because when we say 300 megahertz to 900 megahertz, we are talking more than triple the speed in less than 2 years.
It was kind of the height of the joke where people would say like, "Oh, I bought this is the fastest computer you can get," right? As soon as they walked out the store, they're like, "Oh, here's the new and improved
It's the
one."
fastest computer you could get until you get it home, and then there's a new one.
Yeah.
Like, it was seriously that fast,
just like that. Yeah.
I mean, there's ones in here in the history that are like month over month they're jumping each other by 100 megahertz.
Yeah.
There's May 97 to January 98, we only went up 33 megahertz. 550 99 to March of 2000. We went from 550 to 1 gigahertz. We doubled in 15 months.
I know, that's crazy.
No, sorry, 9 months. We went from 550 to 1 gigahertz in 9 months.
9 months.
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah, Moore's Law and overdrive. That's 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, all you people going, what, we only got a 9% improvement on Zen 3 over Zen 2? Bro. You don't know what a leap is.
You have no.
Those were fun times.
It was. Well, it was also a time of just like, I just bought this. Damn it. It can't.
The first computer I built brand new from parts that I ordered was an Athlon, an AMD K2 Plus. It was a 466 megahertz. So it was that's still, I think it was still socket 7 even.
Was it? Yeah, I think mine was socket 7 too. Yeah, the one that I paid by myself. The ones previous, I think I cobbled together mostly from borrowed parts from work and other things like that.
Yeah.
But I think that was the first one that or something similar to that.
Yeah.
That I actually
I had
paid for.
I had cobbled together the first computer that I cobbled together from parts that I bought, but they were used parts, was a 486 DX2.
Me too, yeah.
I had then cobbled together a Pentium 2 a couple of years later. The first one that I paid for with money out of my pocket that was brand new parts was the 466 K62 from AMD. And it was still socket 7. Like, it was it was crazy.
Yeah.
Had an AGP video card, 8 megabytes.
Oh god, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, 8. I was like, yeah. It's like, this is gonna scream.
Yeah. So yeah. But I bought it when it was 450 megahertz.
Yeah. It did not take long to that get broken.
No, I think that PC might have been around $1,000 in parts. I think I sold it a year and a half later for like $250.
Yeah, we complain about how expensive parts are now, but back then they were pretty ridiculous at how expensive it was.
Yeah.
I mean, we complain now that it costs like, a little over $1,000 to build a PC now, but back then it was about what, $2,500?
Yeah, if you went
a really good system,
right? If you went into Future Shop or CompUSA or I'm naming all the stores that don't exist anymore. Circuit City, yeah. If you walked into one of those stores, PCs would start at like $800, and that was for the eMachines Duron that was guaranteed to last only about 8 months.
It's all stuck together with bubble gum,
right? And then
glue.
The good machines started at about $2,000, and it was not unheard of to see like $4,200 sitting on the shelf.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, and by the way, that was late 90s money.
Yeah. It was not like they were not cheap.
That was brand new house for $79,000 money.
Yes. And that was why that was so infuriating that as soon as you get it, you know, a couple months later, something faster comes out. You're like, and then the price of that, what you paid just $4,000 for, is now like maybe worth half that.
Maybe 2. Yeah. Like a year later. It's literally 50%.
Yeah. It just, the value of it just tanks so fast.
Oh, yes. Good times. Google teased that, just kind of casually threw it out there. Hey, you know what's awesome? Steam. You know what would be even awesomer?
It was great.
If it could run on ChromeOS.
Of course.
Yeah. Why not?
Every elementary age and high school age kid that's got those Chromebooks that they have to do their homework on.
Yep.
Like, I can't put Steam on it.
Yeah.
But now you might be able to.
Oh, you can. Yeah. Steam is coming in alpha to some supported Chromebooks. At the moment, they are limiting you to Intel i5 or i7 processors and at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. They say 7, but you're not going to have 7. You're either going to have 4, 8, or 16. So, yeah, that excludes a lot of Chromebooks. Although I will say, I have a Chromebook that meets those specs because last year I bought my wife a Lenovo Chromebook. We were looking for a laptop for her, and I said, do you need a Windows laptop, or like, what do you need the laptop for? Well, I just need to look things up, and I get on Google Drive, and I watch YouTube, and I do this, and I do that. And I went, would a Chromebook work? Like, because to get what you want in a Windows laptop, I don't want to spend less than $1,200. But if you don't need that much, could we maybe look at a Chromebook? And so I bought a Lenovo Chromebook for $499 from Costco with an Intel i5, and it's got 128 gig NVMe. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. That thing flies. It's a great little laptop for $500.
She likes it.
She loves it. Yeah,
it does.
Sounds great. And now it'll run Steam.
Perfect. Now she can play like, well, I'm obviously it's not going to run the latest and greatest, but I mean you could play like stuff like Terraria and
totally
whatnot.
Yeah, and in fact she does a lot of what's that? Well, she does a lot of Minecraft. She plays with the kids.
I think
like
you could play on Chromebooks right now. Minecraft can,
I think you can, but yeah. But yeah, she does a lot of Minecraft. She also does, what's the farming one?
Something Harvest Moon? Not Harvest Moon.
No.
That's the Nintendo version of
something Valley.
Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley. Thank you.
Yeah, Stardew Valley.
Yeah, she does a lot of Stardew Valley. Yeah, that'll be fun. Hey, Son of a Tech jumps in the chat. What's up, guys?
Son of a Tech. How's it going?
Good to see ya. Nothing, just having a little finger of whiskey and going over the latest.
You're still not done with your whiskey, huh?
I'm about done.
Okay.
I'm taking my time. It's a good whiskey.
All right. No, I know. I don't want to rush you or anything like that. I'm almost halfway done with my beer, though.
Tell you what, I will set the whiskey aside, and I'll go ahead and open my double.
Okay, I'm really interested in what you think of that double. Double. You say it fast enough, you sound like a hamburger.
Double. All right,
Double.
from New Image Brewing. Triple dry hopped double IPA, 9.5.
While you're pouring that, we got a super chat $10 from Tech Geek Co1.
Yep.
You know how to catch a polar bear? You cut a big hole in the ice, and then you line that hole with baby green peas. So what happens when the bear goes to take a pee? You kick him in the ice hole. There we go.
That's a good one. We missed a couple super chats. Ryan sends over $5. Thank you very much, Ryan. Hi, Jeff. Why can't you pet a seal? They're tamper-proof. And Cosmore sends over $5. Thank you very much, good sir. One of my first PCs that I ever owned was a Falcon Northwest machine.
Oh gosh,
remember them?
Made in they're made in down south.
Yeah,
Falcon Northwest is.
Yep.
Medford. Yeah.
That I purchased for myself via working summer jobs. I was 14. Son of a Tech says he popped a whiskey too. Whiskey and compiling my blockchain. That would make me drink as well. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of those movie style heads,
Yes. No, I don't know what's with the IPAs today, but yeah, mine was just like that.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That's like glycerin and dish soap kind of head.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's
Yeah.
that's the movie style head. What else we got? Triple double. Got it about 1.5 inches above the rim now. Maybe I do have time to finish my whiskey.
There you go.
You know what I've always got time for? Giving a little segment to our video sponsor, Linode.
Oh, Linode.
Today's episode of Talking Heads is brought to you by Linode. If you've ever needed to host your own servers, whether it be for home or business, but don't have the resources to invest into hardware, power, cooling, or even space, why not let Linode host them for you? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes the software from most of the tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS servers, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more. With shared CPU plans starting at as little as $5 per month and scaling up to as high as you need to go, you'll be able to find a hosting plan that fits your needs. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site. Because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode also recently announced they are the first alternative cloud provider to have NVMe block storage available to all customers. In September, they began rolling out NVMe drives to all 11 of their global data centers. Best of all, storage rates will remain at the same low price they always have been. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. That's linode.com/craftcomputing, and thanks again to Linode for sponsoring whatever this is.
This is, yes. And their logo is quite holiday appropriate too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, very green.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. Beautiful.
Yeah, look at that.
Good
It's
stuff.
so they won't get pinched.
Thank you, Linode.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that money to buy some Irish whiskey.
There you go. Yeah, I picked up some new Irish whiskey I never had today to try tomorrow. We'll see. It's the Colin Mcgregor whiskey.
Yeah. Boy, there is some yeast in the bottom of this.
Oh, that's gonna be good. And
that
it could be lupulins too. Yeah, that many hops. It could be lupulins.
Yeah, it could totally be. I mean, there are chunks that are.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Delicious, huh?
You wanted malty? A malty IPA? Oh god.
Well, when it's that many hops, it needs to be malty. It's just gonna be too bitter.
This is malt forward like crazy.
That's good.
Like it's got that real hazy IPA staple nose to it, where it's all citrus. Right. You know, it's that. This is like mandarin orange and mango and pineapple, that kind of thing.
Those are the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
The best.
It's super, super citrusy and super juicy on the nose. Texture is about on par with like a really thick orange juice.
Okay.
So it is a
kind of a
thick IPA.
Good heavy mouthfeel.
Yeah, and it is all malt and juice in the.
Oh,
it's delicious.
It's the kind of beer that John needs to sustain himself.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
I don't want to know the calorie count. Please, no one post it.
Oh, it's probably. I was over. He came over, last weekend, and he was obviously still in the midst of his all beer diet.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about and looking up the calorie counts of some beers because he needs to have high calorie beers. That's what he needs.
Yeah.
And so apparently. One of the highest ones is Bigfoot from Sierra Nevada, because it's a barley wine, and the 12 ounce can of Bigfoot is like about 325 calories.
Yeah.
So it's like a couple bottles of those, and you'll be swimming in it.
So, where was it? Right before the super chat, Mike asked, and I will get to Sunny here in just a second. How many old VMs or old OS VMs do you have on your server, or do you not do those? Well, sir, let's start with my DOSBox collection, and obviously it's DOS, but let's go ahead and load up Windows 3.1 here. So I keep this thing fully decked out, including the original Microsoft Office, which is fully functional, by the way, which is not something a lot of DOSBox users can say, because there are some dependencies that don't run well within DOSBox, but there are replacements to those dependencies that you can add and emulate them, and it all works just fine. So yeah, I have was that Microsoft Word 3.0, I've got Excel 2.0, and this is the original package where Microsoft put everything together to compete with Lotus Notes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lotus Notes and what was the 123?
Yeah, something 123.
Yeah.
I forget what it was.
Yeah, I've got games on here. I've got all kinds of fun stuff. So here's my Windows 3.1 games collection. Everything from the Even More Incredible Machine, the Windows version, not the DOS version that you get on Good Old Games.
The original Tetris, or the original Windows Tetris.
Yeah, the original Windows Tetris, the original Yahtzee. I've also got the Windows Yacht, which they couldn't call it Yahtzee. Jazz Jackrabbit, Operation Interspace. If you've never played this game, it's a joy. I know I'm trailing off here and we're getting kind of sidetracked, but
kinda.
Hold on.
Just a little bit.
If you haven't played this game, you need to play this game. You can still buy it brand new today, and it will still work on Windows 10 and 11. So
Operation Interspace. I don't think I've ever played this.
Yeah. Basically, it takes your hard drives on your computer and all the directory structure, and it turns it into various levels that you play trying to rescue the files on your hard drive. And you are a little ship that you control and can upgrade. So it's like a space combat RPG. And so you've got to collect power-ups and collect all the icons. You've got guns that you can upgrade. You've got enemies that you can fight. It's an
kind of an asteroid style.
Yeah, it's an asteroid style game, but it's a full role-playing game that uses your hard drive as the base. It's super fun. Operation Interspace.
Oh. Yeah, there were a lot of good games back then.
Yes. Sunny sends over 100 Hong Kong dollars. Hello from Hong Kong. Enjoyed your channel a lot out here during the race to gigahertz war. There is another fun thing that comes around that time. Remember the dual Celeron hack? I do remember the dual Celeron hack, and in fact, I have a dual slot 1 motherboard in my collection that is running dual Pentium 2 450s.
Wow.
Now, no OS of the day that a consumer would have a hold of could run that, because anything based on the DOS kernel was single core, single thread only. No exceptions. It wasn't until you got to Windows XP that you could, on the consumer side of things, run multiple cores. So even things like the Pentium Pro, you had to have specific use cases or custom Linux kernels to recognize multiple CPUs. But yeah, I have a dual slot 1, and in fact, I recently purchased a pair of 933 megahertz Pentium 3s for it. Now, my board is not one that can be upgraded to the 1 gigahertz line. I think the max it was capable of is 700 because of some voltage regulations, but there is apparently a hack for my particular motherboard that I can shunt together a couple of VRMs and then update the BIOS for with a cracked BIOS of a later revision and get the up to a gigahertz to work. So maybe one day I'll get around to doing that.
That'd be fun little project. Not really the same theme as what you do in most of your channel, but it'd be still a fun project.
Mm-hmm.
But heck, it's your channel. You can do what you want.
That's right. Yeah, I do what I want.
It's my channel.
And that's actually one of the marks of my channel is sometimes I do like in-depth Linux server stuff, and other times it's like, I'm going to build a retro PC with a GT 740.
Sometimes you can just watch me just eating pudding
right
on camera if you want.
You know what? If you guys will pay to watch me eat pudding, I'll freaking eat pudding.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I do like full custom ITX cases with copper water cooling. By the way, if no one caught the Easter egg down here.
I saw that down there, yeah.
Yeah, there's copper piping in my studio right now. Let's see. Ryan also says, Jeff gives flavor profile in excruciating detail. Me, beer. Or tastes like beer. Son of a Tech says, Jeff, I saw your Pi-hole recursive video and enjoyed it. I had another question. What is your preferred method for DNS with ISPs like AT&T, Gigabit, etc.? Whatever ISP or whatever DNS server you use that is in the cloud, they're going to be sniffing your packets and they're going to be trying to analyze you and sell you to advertisers. That is pretty much in every single DNS's best interest, unless you use DNSSEC. Now, if you use Firefox, Firefox lately has been pushing DNSSEC as a default option, where they ask you, do you want to use DNSSEC the first time you launch Firefox? And from inside the browser, they will not use your PC's default DNS server. Instead, any external queries will go via DNSSEC, which is essentially HTTPS for DNS. It's an encrypted DNS request. Not a lot of people outside like DNSSEC because, well, they can't sniff you for data anymore. But if your goal is privacy and to avoid targeted advertising and things like that, DNSSEC is definitely the way to go. And there are some third-party providers for DNSSEC. I don't know if it's to the point yet where you can start integrating Pi-hole and doing your own recursive DNSSEC server, but I'm certainly interested if we can get that running. So yeah, I never recommend using your ISP's DNS server. They almost always suck. Like, what's their incentive besides selling you more content, like Comcast, AT&T,
right? Yep.
Cox, etc. They're media companies. What do you think they're doing with the DNS information? Google is kind of a known evil, as is OpenDNS, as is Cloudflare. Like, at least I know what they're doing with my data, and I know I'm already using their services whether I want to or not. So whatever information they have on me is no more skin off my back. So personally, I use Cloudflare for most things, although Cloudflare also goes down at the drop of a hat thanks to their reliance on level 3. So yeah, Cloudflare with a Google backup is pretty much my go-to. Lotus123. Okay, yeah. All right. Is Gearling in the chat too? Oh, Gearling. Wow, everyone's out to play.
Yeah. They all heard about my hat and just had to come see it.
Yep. Yep. Man, all the YouTubers are out here. Yes, it's been going all day now, but I'm letting Cloudflare soak it up right now. Yeah. Does YouTube only pay attention to the number in super chats? No, they actually do the conversion over to USD in the color formatting. So yes, the color denotes the value and how long you get to stay up on top. No, you can't give me 22,000 Vietnamese dong and be up there until next week. Sorry. Yep, we got our Saint Patty hat on. I had a little bit of Irish whiskey earlier in the night.
Yeah.
But seeing as how it's already 8:50, I think we should start moving through the stories.
We should, yes. We
kind
of got a little sidetracked a bit.
You guys keep talking about things that are like ancillary to my interests, not necessarily.
But there's still fun subjects to talk about, so it's kind of like
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Might as well.
Screw it. What do you guys want to talk about tonight? Microsoft has announced that DirectStorage API is now available inside Windows. This is kind of an exciting thing because this This has the promise to put storage closer to your graphics card and closer to your processor than it has been before. Essentially, for those who don't know, right now, if you're playing a video game, let's say, and your graphics card needs to access texture data, and it needs to read that from storage, it has to tell the CPU, hey, I need this texture data. The CPU tells storage, hey, I need this texture data. Storage tells the CPU, here's your texture data. And then the CPU tells the graphics card, here's your texture data that you asked for 7 cycles ago. With DirectStorage API, you can bypass the CPU entirely, and the graphics card can ask the storage directly, hey, I need this texture data. Okay, here it is.
Yep. Much faster throughput.
Right. And so if you're talking CPU cycles or clocks or any metric of lookup times, you'll know that 2 steps is a lot faster than 7 steps.
Yep.
And so the lower the latency, the more you can actually utilize the bandwidth for throughput and not just back and forth negotiation.
Right.
So that is the theory behind DirectStorage. And the fact that the API is now open means that developers can start integrating it into applications as they see fit. So they can connect PCIe devices to other PCIe devices. The main goal of this is obviously storage to graphics, but there's some other implications with this as well. So good to see that. And we're starting to get to the point where storage may start to become a bottleneck with some performance in games. Like,
definitely.
Now,
even with the high-end games, you still see some texture pop in and stuff like that, especially with the Unreal Engine. I don't know how many times you've seen the model comes out like this and the texture comes in blurry.
Yeah.
And that's how they trick you. So it's like, it seems like it comes in instantly, but they have to wait for the hard drive to come give you the full res texture. And that takes a little bit. You get some weird texture pop in going that. This should circumvent that, and it should be just as instant as the model popping up. So it should be much, much faster.
Yeah, so lots of really compelling use cases there. I'm excited to see where this technology goes. But at the moment, the texture pop-in issue, you get that regardless of whether you're running on a mechanical hard drive or a SATA SSD or an NVMe SSD Gen 2 through 4. Because once the texture is loaded into memory, then it just loads. But the loading time is the only thing that's really suffered. With DirectStorage API integrated into games, you might start to see your drive be a bottleneck in potential game performance as far as how quickly textures are loaded in. And not just the GTA 5 I'm loading or Skyrim I'm loading a new zone going faster, but how far in the horizon can I see? How much texture can I hold in data? How many triangles can I possibly hold in my buffer right now and still have access to the textures that I need to render them properly? That's going to become a real thing very quickly as soon as developers start integrating this. Very exciting future.
I think there was what's the Luminous Productions, there's a new Forspoken, that's what it was, that Forspoken, which is coming out next year, or is it this year? It's supposed to be a new game from it's Square Enix. That's right, Square Enix. It's going to have direct storage fully integrated into it, so that's coming out October of this year. October. So I don't know if there's any games that have been announced that are going to shove it in backwards compatible, have an update so it'll integrate it, but I can see that happening, especially with some more modern titles and stuff like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. So Gearling just said birds and bees mean springtime and allergy season. I get some seasonal allergies where, like, my nose runs like 9 months out of the year, and it's just a thing. But for me, and I put this in chat, spring means rain, then sun, then rain, then sun, then thunder, then sun, then frost, then sun, then rain, then sun. And I'm one of those that gets migraines, and one of my main triggers is pressure changes.
You get a lot of that. Huh?
So spring for me means migraine, 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 migraine. Hey, I feel crap, migraine. Yep.
Yeah, I never had too many issues with allergies,
Yep.
even though my backyard is actually most of it is it's out to a wetland area, and it's just mostly grass that's out there. Still, never had any issues.
Yeah, you're lucky. Yeah.
That's the cocaine.
Took it right out of my mouth, Steve. Damn it. I don't know why my nose runs all the time. All right. Intel CPUs.
Oh yeah.
We all thought Spectre and Meltdown were over. Well, think again. A second round of mitigations is coming out as recent as, gosh, does this affect all the way up to 12th gen?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So Spectre V2 mitigations are coming down the pipeline in the form of BIOS updates and OS remediations. And that means lower performance because of speculative execution exploits, thanks to Spectre and Meltdown. This affects basically all the CPUs it did before, and all the way up to current generation, which is Gen 12. So, depending on the instruction set you're using, you could see performance penalties up to 35% on this second round of mitigate. Dude. That is massive. Yeah, that is number one. Well, how do I even say this? From a security perspective, you should absolutely patch everything that has the potential for a security risk.
Right.
Well, say that. My problem is, for keeping some systems alive, if you simply mitigate the in-out traffic with it, you could probably keep things in production long. Hear me out. As someone who runs servers, used to run servers professionally, etc., most of my services are internal. I've only got a couple that are external facing, and those are still only for personal use, and they're still password protected. But you don't necessarily want to rely on that entirely if your CPU itself is vulnerable to side channel attacks. If you only run internal services, I don't know that there's necessarily a need to upgrade. And I know that's blasphemous as far as InfoSec goes.
But that performance hit, man, you just
right.
Yeah, that's a balance you kind of have to keep.
Like,
right there.
Like you all know, my wheelhouse is Sandy Bridge, Ivy Bridge. Like, I love that generation of CPU because it pretty much stayed the same until Cascade Lake.
Yeah.
Like, I love that generation CPU because you can get them for so cheap, and even Haswells have come down in price lately. Like, you can get V4 CPUs for under $100 now, which is absolutely insane. Do you need to patch it to run your Plex server at home?
Probably not.
Like,
yeah. That's honestly because I think they said the biggest performance hit is with the I/O interface, like the input output, the browsing of webs, and you're not gonna see that much performance of a hit. Mm-hmm. But yes, if you're running a Plex server or something like that, you'll see a performance hit there.
Yeah, you definitely would with anything transcode, encode, decode.
Yep.
You will definitely see a performance hit with a lot of things. AVX, that also uses speculative execution quite a bit, especially AVX256, which is where most of these affected CPUs max out. So yeah, it's going to be a hit. And if you run a server in production that is public facing, you absolutely need to upgrade. You absolutely need to patch these mitigations and or patch these exploits rather. For the home lab folks that are watching, it's a little more give and take. It's a little bit more give and take. Like I said, my VM server only has 2 ports that are open to the world, and they're serving a couple other services. I'm not going to say what services. I've got to at least adhere by security by obscurity on this channel, which is not security at all. But I'm not going to tell you what I'm running. But I've got two applications that are open to the greater web that I do DNS forward to myself. But they're not applications that are like readily exploitable. And so do I need to run those mitigations to lose 35% performance to my Minecraft server or to my Plex server or whatever else? I don't know. So take my opinion for what it is based on who I am and what I do today. And as Gearling says, I still run servers professionally. I just have a wildly different SLA. Yes, although if you run a Plex server and you have a family, that's one of the worst contracts you can possibly take on.
Oh yeah, especially when you have everybody hitting it at once.
I rebooted my main VM server the other day, and 60 seconds after I hit reboot, my daughter comes downstairs and goes, "Dad, is there something wrong with the internet?" No, I rebooted the server, so Plex might be down. Oh, because we were watching this upstairs, and then it just stopped working, and nothing else was working. I went, well, nothing else on Plex was working, but the internet's still up.
Yeah, YouTube's still fine.
Yeah. Lesson 1, kid, report the problem, not everything is broken, and you'll probably get more attention. Welcome to the real world.
Well, if she learns that, she's like ahead of 75% of adults out there right now.
Yeah.
You can just go on to the Discord and listen to John's tech support woes every day.
Yes. So yeah, I'm not advocating to not update your servers, but what I am advocating for is if you're doing home lab stuff for your education and you're internally focused on, you're not exposing this to the world, you're not relying on it for production, so you can take a couple security risks because they're internal risks. That's called risk mitigation. And if you get 20% more performance out of a Sandy Bridge, Ivy Bridge, Haswell, Cascade Lake, whatever, and you can more easily learn from that, I say more power to you. If you are running a server in production, in a production environment, whether it's commercial, educational, business, whatever, run your patches. Bite the bullet. Ask your bosses for more tech money next year.
That's my advice. Budget up somehow.
Yep. Be right back. Setting up ServiceNow in my home lab. So with these exploits, if you have a VM exposed to the internet, how safe are you? It depends on what service it is. It depends on how exploitable that service is. Speculative execution takes advantage of memory space that Intel used to save time on calculations. There's a long-winded technical explanation. The short explanation is if Intel sees an equation comes in that says 2 times 2, and it's seen that equation 100 times before, it'll just load 4 into memory. Now, it'll still double-check itself in the background, but it will assume that 4 is the answer and move on with further equations in another thread. And if it turns out that 4 was not the answer, it'll recalculate that and then advance. But if 4 was the answer, it saved 20 cycles of CPU time. It's a very simple explanation, don't at me. If you have a VM in particular that can exploit memory in any way, Spectre was basically, not only can you read the memory addresses of the VM that you have access to through whatever that web service application is, you can also read the memory spaces of other VMs that are currently running on the system. And so let's say you have a Minecraft server running, which is Java-based, which oh my god, think of more security holes and memory leaks than Java.
Yeah.
And you also have a SQL database of all your financial transactions in another VM on the same physical server. You could, in theory, use Java vulnerabilities to read the SQL database queries on that other VM. Now, it's in real time. It's only active memory that is exploited. It's not... well, it's active and speculative memory that you can see. You can basically see the raw addresses that are exposed. But it breaks down that soft wall between physical and virtual machine. And so you can read the entire physical machine memory with access to only one VM. So that's a very simple way of saying if you are running anything in production, anything exposed to the internet that may have some vulnerability that you can exploit, Java, the gift that keeps on giving. I'm just throwing Java out there because Java deserves to be under the bus.
Java's everyone's punching bag. Don't worry about it. Java's used to it.
So yeah. Java vulnerabilities. Why are you repeating yourself? Did you know in the dictionary under redundant it says see redundant? Yeah. So that's the very compressed, short-winded explanation of why you need to patch your servers. And if you're running anything in production, if you are any kind of commercial, business, education, etc. environment, you need to be patching your servers because it's the stone that's left unturned that will bite you. And because this isn't just, oh yeah, they have access to our HVAC data or whatever else. No, they can use that HVAC data to penetrate your financial data. Or they can use that Minecraft EDU server that you spun up because some teacher in the middle school decided to, like, he had to have it. And now all of a sudden, all of your student social security numbers are exposed because those are also on a database that was looked up on the server. It's all connected in the back end. So that's what Spectre is. That's why it's important to patch. If you're running a Plex server and a Pi-hole and a couple other services like that aren't really all that insecure, and you're not running any secure data that you need to protect on your server,
it's not that bad.
It's probably not that bad. And like I said, for a lot of home lab type environments, you could probably get away with not patching. And I know that's blasphemous from an InfoSec perspective. I understand. Like I said, don't at me. So consider what your data is. Consider what your vulnerabilities and exposure could be, and make the according decisions. Java, the reason IT professionals drink. I thought that was SQL. Like Java...
No, SQL's not that bad. Java's way worse.
You ever crashed a production database? Because I have.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say crash, but...
Crash is such a strong word.
I've had to restore. I've had a few people who did like wrote scripts without testing them on a run a script on a production database without testing them first on a Scratch database.
Yeah, I've had a guy run a PowerShell script that didn't have a max user count threshold on it that applied to all users.
Oh, and they just updated everybody. Gave everybody admin permissions or something like that.
Gave everyone no permissions.
Oh, no permission. All of a sudden, can't even work. Okay.
Right.
Then everybody started like, why can't I do anything anymore?
Right. Where'd all my files go? Oh, yeah. They're there. Trust me.
Don't worry about it.
I'm the one person who still has physical access, so it's all right. We'll get back. Yeah, and Zachary wants to say, that's more of a description of caching. Spectre takes advantage of speculative execution for branch prediction with instructions in branch is executable if the system thinks it is likely to be called. And like I said, I gave a very basic explanation because I was trying to keep it under 20 minutes. Yes, there's more that can be looked up, but you start getting into theoreticals and lab benches and things like that. I was trying to just tell people, if you run in production, make sure to patch. I wasn't getting into, well, if you run Minecraft specifically, you should probably patch your server. Or if you have financial data, you should probably patch. Those are, yes, you should patch. Yeah. There you go. All right. Microsoft may have accidentally revealed ads to be coming to Windows 11 File Explorer, to the surprise of no one in this room.
Right.
Yeah.
Although they quickly pulled it right afterwards.
Well, of course they did. They don't want the bad.
Of course they did.
They don't want the bad press before it
No,
actually drops.
no.
They want to
No.
drop it on like a Sunday morning, so you'll forget about it by Monday.
I always thought they were going to do it like they did. What was it, that story back when eBay changed the color of its background, and everybody complained
From the
about the
off-white to
sudden
white?
shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, all right, we'll put it back, and they put it back, and then they just gradually changed the background color, and then nobody complained.
Yeah. They just did a
They'll
hex
just-
value at a time.
Yeah, and then now with Windows, they'll just be like, it's just a small ad,
Yep.
and it'll get bigger and bigger. And pretty soon, no one just like, oh, yeah, okay,
Yep.
it's still there.
Yeah, no, I forgot about that entirely. eBay used to be almost like a beige background.
Yeah, it had a.
It was a soft yellow. It was the color of wall that you paint your house when you don't know what to paint your house.
It's the color of the old '90s PC,
Right. It's off
beige.
white.
Yeah.
It's eggshell white, and
it
they
wasn't
decided to go with stark white, and everyone went, whoa, like it's so hard on the eyes now, I can't read it. And so eBay went, okay. They turned it back, and then they dialed back like one setting a week for 8 weeks until it was where they wanted it to be.
Yeah, exactly. And then no one complained because it was so gradual.
Right.
Yeah, that was funny.
Thank you. I completely forgot about that. Yeah. Anytime I do a Windows debloat video, I get two main comments. Number one, Windows doesn't put ads in their operating system. Where are you seeing these at? Yes, they do. There's two places that they put them right now. Number one, they put them on the welcome screen, where they will put targeted articles that they think you want to read that link directly to MSN, which, need to remind you, is the Microsoft network. So they get clicks on their webpage, they get ad revenue from said webpage, they get throughput, they get numbers, they get all that kind of stuff. They will quite frequently display ads on the welcome screen in a lot of different Windows versions.
Oh yeah.
Now it is disableable in every Windows version. That is something that you can make go away through the debloating script. But by default, even Windows Professional displays ads on the welcome screen. You just might not notice them because they're just the little blurbs that you can click on, and then once you log into your user, it'll just open Edge. Regardless of your default browser, it'll open Edge.
Right, it's always
Which,
Edge.
again, it'll open Edge. And then Microsoft in the Start menu with Windows 10 tiles, and this started all the way back in Windows 8, you notice how Microsoft has all of their first-party service apps installed by default. They have maps, they have weather, they have news, they have stocks, they have all those other applications that you probably don't even know exist.
It's pronounced stonks.
Stonks, yeah.
Stonks,
It's only stonks if it's going up. So they have all those built-in applications. Well, guess what? All those applications are content delivery that they can deliver stories to in live tile format for current events or things you want to look at or things they think you want to look at. That's advertisement. Anytime Microsoft recommends you go to the internet and go take a look at this thing, it's an advertisement. They are wanting clicks. They are wanting clicks to the site as a primary motive. They are wanting clicks to their advertisers as a secondary motive. Yes, Microsoft delivers ads to your operating system, whether you knew it or not. And again,
it's very subtle.
As I said in the last Windows debloat video, we let that happen by not yelling loud enough. I've been yelling from the clouds as long as I could, starting with Windows 7 with little eeks in with recommended apps and things like that. That's like, Microsoft should not be installing a couple apps that they think I might like. That was expanded, or sorry, Windows 8, when the Windows Store first became a thing. install like the top 2 apps of the month or something like that. And I went, that's not something it should be doing. And to people who defend, well, they're not actually installed. They're on my computer and they're in my start menu. I didn't put them there. I don't care if they're installed or if they're installed on first click. They're still there and they don't belong there. And then with Windows 8.1, we started getting suggestions. We started getting tips on things we might like, or articles that might interest us and things like that in the news feed for Microsoft. And then with Windows 10, it started very subtly. And then all of a sudden, I think with the, it wasn't in the 1604, the initial release of Windows 10. I think it was like the 1710 or 1709 release, 1709, yeah, that they started putting recommended ads or recommended articles on the welcome screen. That's ad delivery. And I hated it then. I hate it now.
You know,
and now it's coming to Windows Explorer. So now when you open your My Documents, here's some other things that might interest you, you know, in your quick link menu.
This is the slippery slope that all started with Clippy. It's all Clippy's fault.
Clippy's fault.
It's all Clippy's fault. And maybe Microsoft Bob had a little bit to do with it, but mostly Clippy. Mostly Clippy.
Frickin' Bob. Yeah. No, this is all Clippy's fault. Can I help you?
It's all Clippy's. Can I help you? No, you can't. I hear Clippy.
I love that Star Trek Lower Decks, Badgie is basically Clippy. Can I teach you a lesson?
Yeah, you want that?
It's so great. American Cosworth, $5. Thank you very much. Ads on Windows brought to you by Reasons to Switch to Linux Desktop. By the way, that's the other comment I get in those videos.
Just choose use Linux.
Look, I like
One
Linux.
sec, you keep going.
Look, I like Linux. I like Linux a lot, in fact. I think Linux is a great operating system. I use it all the time in servers. I've done a number of tutorials for it. The average user cannot run Linux, and I'm tired of saying that. I don't want to hear, yes, they can. I don't want to hear they should learn. I don't want to... You've never worked IT support. You need to meet users where they're at, meet them where their expectations lie, and meet them with what they expect. And Linux does none of those. Until Linux is as plug and play as Windows, as Mac OS, as Chrome OS. And by the way, Chrome OS, for as many people, well, it runs the Linux kernel. Until it is as plug and play as Windows, Mac OS, and Chrome OS, Linux will never be a thing. And I've stated that SteamOS 3.0 finally has the potential to be a thing. Because what are they doing? They're making it simple. They're making it plug and play. They're making it... They're making the expectations of the user match the experience that they're going to receive. Without... Well, it works, but if you download this kernel version and you make sure you update the drivers, which, by the way, you have to do in the shell, and you do this and you do this, and you make sure that Steam has the... No, I want to load Steam, install game, play game. That's it. Until Linux reaches that point, and until SteamOS reaches that point, it's not a viable option. And 98% of users will not switch to it, and have proven they won't switch to it. So, I'm not getting off that soapbox until Linux makes a move. I will stand on that soapbox until I see anything better.
And you know, it's kind of funny because the people that are actually making steps to make that closer is Steam. Mm-hmm. They're trying to make an all-encompassing OS for gamers to install a Linux-based system that just will automatically play your games, and that's what a lot of people want.
Yep.
All right.
Who pays for Windows? Most people. Now, not most people who bought a PC, although, yes, most people who go out and buy a PC, 10 or 15 or $20 of that goes directly to Microsoft through the OEM for Windows. They pay licensing fees to sell Windows on their desktops. That's a thing. Now, as the end user, Microsoft has conveniently removed most of those fees from us, but they are still on businesses, on corporations, on cube farms, on everything else. There's licensing fees, there's volume license agreements, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can sign up for, but Windows is still a cash cow for Microsoft, even if they're not relying on the average consumer to pay that bill anymore. Windows is still not free, even though you've gotten the last 3 updates for free, from 7 to 8 to 8.1 to 10 to 11. It looks like you're trying to talk about how great Microsoft is. Can I teach you a lesson? Rant alert. Yeah, I probably should have turned it on.
Well, it's good. It gave me time to rinse off my glass and pour my beer.
Right. Yeah, you said 1 second and I went, oh, perfect timing.
Oh, yeah. No, I just realized that I only brought 1 glass, and I just poured an IPA, and I'm going to pour barley wine. And I love barley wine.
Oh.
I don't want it to be tainted.
I must have missed the barley wine comment.
I did it in the middle of the rant. So I poured the Unbeatable by
Great Notion. Oh.
Which is the vanilla coconut barley wine.
Oh, good God.
It is absolutely delicious. Because outside of IPAs, like barley wines are my absolute favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And this is no exception. This is delicious.
Yeah, barley wines I think are number 3 for me, but they're like swap Imperial Stout for barley wine, and we have the same top 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, unless you build a trash PC off an HP Z420 with an M40, where the MOBO comes with a Windows 10 Pro license built in. Right. But the license was still paid for at some point by some party.
Right.
Regardless of where it originated. And by the way, I'm really happy that the license is now tied to the motherboard, because remember in the past when you wanted to like upgrade a system and you'd swap out a CPU and it'd go, nope, sorry, no longer activated. Yeah, you swap out too many parts too quickly. Yeah, by upgrading my PC over 6 years, I was just trying to circumvent Microsoft licensing. My apologies, Windows XP.
Yeah.
By the way, Steve, I don't know if you can see it, but check out all the floaties.
Oh, no, I see it. It's like oh my gosh, there's like some cake at the bottom.
Oh, it's good.
Oh. I bet you that's lupulins. I don't think that's yeast. That could be lupulins, or maybe a mix of both.
It's lupulins.
Okay.
That's not yeast.
Okay.
Oh, that was delicious. Next up, another beer that I have never had before, but one that I am equally looking forward to, is the White Bluffs Brewing Mighty Knight Imperial Stout.
Oh, yeah.
9.4%. Brewed in Richland, Washington.
Okay, not too far.
Which, by the way, I will be in Richland, Washington on Friday the 25th for PDX LAN.
Oh, PDX LAN.
I got my media passes approved today. So
I was going to say, because usually those tickets, well, I don't know how quick the tickets used to go quick.
Tickets are sold out through the fall event.
Okay.
Like they have a spring and a fall event this year. The BYOC is already sold out for September.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it's November. It's like November 9th through 11th or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, if anyone is going to be at PDX LAN, I will be there on Friday from noon, probably close to 10 p.m. So I'll be hanging out. We'll just kind of be walking the floor. I'm going to check out any PC mods, any cosplay, any happenings and competitions. And Rhett and I are just going to be hanging out, probably cracking a couple of beers and having a good day. So please come by, say hi. We'll be around.
I haven't been to PDX LAN in, oh gosh, it's been like 10 years.
Can
maybe?
I admit that I've never been?
You've never been?
I've never been
Oh
to
man.
PDX
Oh,
LAN.
I went to a couple of times.
It always
But it's been
landed
a
on
long
a
time.
weekend that I couldn't attend. Like
Oh, yeah.
I tried like 8 times, and it's like no, that's like an anniversary weekend, or this is like,
Oh yeah.
you know, some third cousin's birthday that we promised we'd attend, or this is someone's wedding. It's like,
I kind of want to go back because every once in a while I miss the whole LAN party scene.
I really do.
Because we used to do them, like I said, once a month. We used to do them either someplace in Salem or someplace close by.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute blast. We'd get there like about 8, 9 in the morning, and we wouldn't leave until about, like you said, 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yep.
We'd break for lunch, have a couple beers, have beers while we're playing.
Yep.
Play all these Unreal tournaments, Quake, all the different, all the great games.
Yeah, I did quite a few LAN parties when I lived down in Eugene. And that was back in the day when I would pack my K6-2 and my CRT monitor on the bus.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my god. The CRT monitor that took up a whole seat on the bus.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I still have my Case Ace strap that you would wrap your computer in, and had a handle so you can carry the whole case. And it's got like pockets on the side for your mouse and your mouse pad and your LAN cables and everything like that. I think I still have that sitting around somewhere. Still good if you want to go to LAN parties.
Yeah. Actually, I still have the. Gosh, I did a review on it. Even the LAN case, the LAN bag. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Gosh, I'm gonna have to look this up now.
The one I have, I think the website still might be up, and if you look at the website, you'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's from like the early 2000s. It's called Case Ace.
I have Crazy Gear, the Crazy Gear GTR1. It was I met the owner of the company, the guy who invented the bag, at QuakeCon in 2018.
Oh yeah.
And he sent over a bag. It was a Kickstarter at the time. But it was aimed at people who want to carry their desktop and a monitor, and who are going to LAN parties like QuakeCon. I'm like, I'd love to take a look at that. Like, that's awesome. I brought a PC here to the LAN, and man, getting it on the cart and transporting it through the hotel and everything, like, it was nerve-wracking. I'd love it if I can just throw it on my back.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, I'll probably be taking that to QuakeCon or to PDX LAN with me.
Yeah, I put the well, I could only find an eBay link to it. The Case Ace. Oh, it's from Gear Grip. Sorry, Gear Grip. Here we go. Oh no, that just goes to a PDF. I guess their website doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, I put a link to it on the Discord of what it looks like. The old Case Ace Gear Grip. Pro LAN party, large computer carrying case harness. It was pretty good. It had pockets for your mouse, for your keyboard.
Yep.
Place to strap up your LAN cables, your video card cables,
Yep.
all kinds of stuff.
So the review video that I did for the Crazy Gear was, I put my Dishonored case that I built for QuakeCon into it, and I picked it up on my back.
And just like carried it like a backpack.
I did.
Like you're some Sherpa going up
Right.
up some mountain.
And I will say it was insanely comfortable. Heavy.
Yeah.
Because remember, that was a water-cooled 8700K and a 1080 and a Fractal Design R6. Like, it was a heavy case.
Yeah.
But it was much better than putting it onto a luggage rack and toting it through a hotel.
Yeah.
So,
of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Mickle says, LOL, I ought to get you into the BYOC for the LAN party. I'm on staff with 200 to 300 attendees, but don't know if you can make the trip to Kentucky. You know, honestly,
you're throwing some fried chicken. We might be able to get out there. Some Kentucky fried chicken.
Honestly, one of my plans going into 2020, when I was planning on going full time, was doing a lot of collabs and traveling a lot more. And I will say this all depends on COVID numbers. But I would love to start making some more personal appearances places, and doing a lot more collabs with places. In fact, I have a collab that I've been wanting to do with some of the Wichita automotive YouTubers for a long time, and even local YouTubers. So there's B is for Build, who is local to me, and
That's right.
We have common contacts, and we've thought about doing PC/car stuff for a long time, and then COVID hit. So I'm hoping within the next year to 2 years that those bridges will get built again, and I can start getting out there a little bit more. I can get to random LAN parties in Kentucky and Nebraska, and get back to QuakeCon and PAX East and PAX West, and those kinds of things, because I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Gearling says I need to come to St. Louis. As it turns out, my family is going to St. Louis in May. But I will not be on that particular trip. So, yeah. You know what? If I ever make it out to Kansas, which I probably will in the next year or so, I will totally jump across the border and come see you in St. Louis. We'll do a Mirror Universe Jeff versus Redshirt Jeff throwdown. As long as it means I don't have to shave my goatee.
Well, that would make you Evil Jeff.
That would make me Evil Jeff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone always wonders, like, what's my... like, Gearling has Redshirt Jeff. And I always say I have Mirror Universe Jeff. And it's like, well, how would you tell the difference? Well, Mirror Universe Jeff doesn't use Manscaped. That's how you tell.
So you have to check down under. Yeah.
It's not the facial hair that's the tell on that
one. No, not that part. Yeah.
I'll meet you halfway in rural Missouri. I don't need meth. I wanted to meet up for a tech video. What are you gonna do, Branson? Like, yeah. All right. We do have some beer news, kind of.
I mean, we can.
Do we need to do it, or can we buzz on through it? My main question for you that I didn't ask you before the show is: did you see Picard episode 2?
I did.
Perfect. Because I'd much rather get to the spoiler cast on that.
Okay, we can go through some of this fairly quickly.
So let's do like 5-minute blitz on the beer review, on the beer news, and the one entertainment story that we have.
Okay.
Meth capital, whoop whoop. Springfield, Oregon.
There's a lot of places throughout the U.S. could possibly have heavy competition.
Any place you have a major metro area, St. Louis, Kansas City, Tucson. If you drive about 4 miles outside city limits, you have a meth problem.
Yeah.
It's a very easy joke to make as a comedian. Hashtag demonetized. Yeah. Anyway, Bushmills picks up the tab for Peaky Blinders fans for St. Patrick's Day. St. Patty's Day with 2 D's, not 2 T's. All you racist bastards. Yeah. So if you order a Bushmills Irish Whiskey cocktail on St. Patty's Day, Bushmills will pay for it.
Oh, yeah. And not only on top of that, there's another link.
Yes.
You can go to and get $6 off on your purchase of Bushmills.
That's right.
So essentially, the first shot is free. Unfortunately, it's not in every single state. I already looked because I'm like, oh, look, I can get a discount on a pint of or a fifth of Bushmills, but it's not available in Oregon. Bummer. But basically, you buy some, you go there, they'll give you a rebate.
Sorry, people are referencing all their meth capitals. I had to add a couple of ours. I got Scotts Mills and Fall City.
Oh yeah, there's tons of them.
Those are just the 2 closest. Those are the ones where they don't have that barrier off Main Street. Like
Well, Scotts Mills isn't exactly the big of a city anyway.
But again, like,
Yes, no,
like
it's
you've
up
got
there,
City
yeah.
Hall next to the blue tarps. Like it's
Yes. Yeah. There's no division whatsoever.
the mayor comes up scratching his neck. Like Guinness Breakfast Tea Amber. Available only on St. Patrick's Day, only around St. Patrick's Day, and only in the US, interestingly
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, for Guinness. It's the US brewery that they have out there in Maryland.
Yep.
You can get a English breakfast, or is it Irish breakfast?
Yeah. English
Makes
breakfast
sense.
tea.
English breakfast tea
Irish,
with Irish
yeah,
beer.
Irish beer. Yeah.
So apparently it's like a 4.8 ABV, and it's only going to be sold at the brewery in Maryland. They're not even going to distribute it.
Yep.
So only if you're in and around the area can you get this slightly sought after beer, I guess. I don't know
if anyone happens to get a hold of this, my P.O. box is down in the video description.
Yeah.
I'd honestly love to try this.
I wouldn't mind trying it myself.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of beers that have tea in it. In fact, Gilgamesh, which is right close to us, has the infamous Black Mamba, which used to have caffeinated black tea.
Yes.
Which is no longer because of the laws in Oregon do not allow any caffeine.
Not allow caffeine, ginseng, or other special energy infusing botanicals to be mixed in beer. Thank you for Loco.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So they had to formulate a decaffeinated.
We also can't do THC in beer or CBD in beer. No. You can do CBD in sodas, but you can't do CBD and ABV at the same time.
But the thing is, you can go to a bar and get, a whiskey and Coke and a rum and Coke, which has caffeine and alcohol in it
and sugar.
Whatever. Yeah. You just can't sell it. Okay.
Right, but that's a cocktail.
You can also get a THC
but Steve,
drink
think
and
of
add
the
children
children.
To it. I know.
Think of the children ordering their whiskey Cokes.
That's the kids that are going up there. It's like, I don't want a whiskey and Coke anymore, mommy. I want a Four Loko.
How about that fruit punch?
No, son, you gotta finish that rum and Coke before you can have your Four Loko. But I don't wanna. You're grounded.
Any more lip from you, I'm not giving you your Maker's Mark cigar. Bugger on, back to your room.
That's how kids are, man. Just, you got to be hard on them sometimes.
Yeah, guarana. Yep.
Anyway.
Yep. All of the stuff that they put into to the energy drinks and things like that.
Yeah. Let's see. Next, Budweiser are going to debut a new Supreme beer in 5 test markets, including Ohio.
Ooh.
Which they know a thing about Supreme.
Speaking of meth.
Yeah, this is not.
I could say that about all 50 states. Don't get up in arms,
yeah,
Ohio.
Of course you can. This is nothing to do with Taco Supreme.
North Dakota. Speaking of meth.
Apparently,
yeah, that's right. I meant all 7 of you.
Oh,
okay. I'm done.
Okay, keep going. You got any more meth jokes in you, Jeff?
I'm sure I could scrounge one up.
Sure, they're pretty. You can scratch one up.
Yep.
Yeah. So Budweiser debuting a Supreme beer. Not anything with a little respect or anything like that.
I love that it's 5 test markets, including Ohio.
Yeah, I think it's just the buzzword, like the area.
By the way, this is on Yahoo Sports, so it's not like even like a local Ohio. Like, hey, look, we're getting Budweiser's just Supreme beer. It's just, hey, look, Ohio's getting something.
I'm blaming this article on John because I'm sure he posted it.
I'm sure he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he probably got excited over it. He wants some Supreme beer.
Now Budweiser is touting this as a Supreme beer. It's an American Golden Lager at 4.6%.
Doesn't sound
like
Supreme
every other American lager domestic beer.
Yeah. Now the only thing that's different is it's supposed to have a honey malt as opposed to adding a ton
flavored taste, but combined with the American honey malt to create a crisp, silky taste, according to the company.
So it's going to taste like maybe 2% less crappy. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Budweiser.
2% less crappy of 68%. ain't much to brag about.
Mm-mm-mm.
Because
Mm-mm.
if 68% is crap,
Yeah.
I don't want to drink your 66. Like,
I mean, if someone were to, if one of us was the test market in Oregon, if one of the 5 test markets in Oregon, I would probably try it. I would still try it. I mean, I'd wait for John to buy it and then I'd try it, but I would still try it.
and last but not least, before the Picard episode 2 season 2 spoiler cast, is we collectively, the United States, is getting because I guess there's more than one of us, are getting a Super Nintendo World theme park next year.
That's right. Currently, it's only in Japan.
Yep.
Because the Japanese love their Nintendo, and I can't blame them because it is a fun console.
Right.
But we are getting a Super Nintendo World in Universal Studios Hollywood.
Yep.
So actually, it's been a long time since I've been to Universal Studios Hollywood.
Me too.
And I don't want to date myself, but
the date didn't start with a 2.
No, it did not. Okay, I distinctly remember this as a kid, going to Universal Studios, and I've been to Universal Studios Orlando since then.
Mm-hmm.
But Universal Studios Hollywood was the Battlestar Galactica ride, not the recent Battlestar Galactica.
You know when I went?
But the old Battlestar Galactica.
Do you know when I went to Universal Studios Hollywood?
What was that?
We got to experience the Backdraft set.
Oh, Backdraft, yes, of course.
It was Back to the Future and Backdraft. Those were the 2 big ones.
Yes. But now, hey, Super Mario World is coming. It looked kind of fun. I mean, it looks like they got some.
Suddenly, my back hurts, and I.
Yeah, I know. No, the Back to the Future ride was just notoriously jerky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it tossed you around like a rag doll, man.
I did get to sit in the driver's seat of that DeLorean, though. That was pretty sweet.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
I remember going to the Universal Studios Orlando and going to the Terminator ride, and it breaking down on me.
haven't been to Orlando. I've been to Florida's one of, well, I guess I've been to like 15 states. Like I'm not well traveled, but I've done some traveling.
Yeah.
Really ticks me off because I didn't get to travel at all as a kid, and all my traveling has been in my adult life. Like I reached age 24 with only ever visiting Washington and California.
Oh wow.
And I live in Oregon, and
No,
I was never more than 8 hours off the West Coast in a car, like ever. Now I had been to Spokane and I had been to San Diego, so I've been within like 15 miles of Canada and Mexico respectively. Right. And everything along that path along the West Coast, but never further than that. Since then, I've been to like 12 other states, and I've done some traveling, and it's been a lot of fun. Yeah. And that's why COVID pissed me off so much. Is it's like,
because you missed all that travel.
It's like, I'm gonna go full time. I'm gonna be a YouTuber. I've got collaborations that I'm planning in New York and Kansas and Florida and all these other places. It's like, I'm gonna get travel the states and then I haven't gone freaking anywhere.
That's too bad.
I haven't even left the damn state since 2020.
Well, I mean, to be fair, when everything's shut down, there's no real place to go anyway. So.
Right.
I mean, you can go out in the middle of the woods and scream up into the sky. Mm-hmm. That's no fun. Although that is kind of like how the ET ride was on Universal Studios. But no, as us, because you remember the very first vacation movie with Chevy Chase?
Oh yeah.
And he planned that whole trip from Chicago, and he went
windows up.
Yep. We did that as a family when I was younger. We literally planned vacations that we drove across the country to go visit. We drove from Oregon all the way to Orlando, then to Washington D.C., and then back. And this was like 86, I want to say. So yeah, it was fun being a kid doing that. But as an adult, I do not want to do that. I never want to do that. I'm just gonna fly, dude. I don't want to drive.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I could solo road trip, or like road trip with like some buddies. Like if the four of us wanted to go on a road trip,
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I could totally do that.
We could take shifts and
I have
sleep
3
and stuff
kids
like that,
though.
and we can get there. Yeah.
Like
no. See,
no.
No.
Put me on a plane or put a bullet in my head. Those are my 2 options.
Oh, we got a super chat from Japan.
Ooh.
It's saying Super Mario World has been open for a few months, which, yes, it's been open in Japan.
Yes.
Try to go 10 minutes after the park opened. Tickets for Mario were sold out for the day.
Yep.
Which is one of the nice things about the Disney parks is they have the park pass. So all the popular rides, you can go in and say, hey, I'm going to be here at this time. You can leave and do whatever. You come back at that time, you get to the front of the line.
Yep.
Super nice.
Yeah, Steve is solidly older than I am. There's a bunch of people calling you old right now.
I know. I know.
What's funny is I'm actually the 3rd youngest on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve and John are both older than I am. Now I'm light years ahead of Rhett, comparatively.
Yeah. Rhett just recently got out of diapers. That's why he got
right.
Jeff, so yeah.
I could still afford him. He hadn't actually made it to a real job yet.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't know Jeff's ripping him off. So.
Well, what's funny is I talked to my sister recently, who got a pretty good paying full-time job, and I said, yeah, I recently hired a guy, and she goes, you're probably paying him more than I make, and I went, yeah, that's probably true. First of a couple, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, so we have about 15 minutes. We want to get into Picard.
Yes.
Okay.
Season 2, Episode 2, spoiler cast. If you have not seen Star Trek Picard Episodes 1 or 2 of Season 2, and you don't want them spoiled, turn away now. And I know that's not a good thing to say on YouTube for the analytics, but screw it. I want to talk Star Trek Picard.
Oh, yeah.
So, Episode 1 ends with Hugh going, oh, Jean-Luc, mon capitaine, it's been too long, my friend.
I actually like how they did that. How he looked young, and then he's like, "Oh."
I called that.
Explain the aging right away.
As soon as I heard that John Delancey was going to be back as Q, I went, he's going to go, Jean-Luc, you look so old. Hold on, does that make you feel better? Like I knew they were going to do that. I knew they were going to do some de-aging for like a split second, and then explain it like, I'm going to look like you look just with you. And it was perfect.
That worked out good.
But that was the end of Episode 1. Episode 2 opens up with Picard in this newfangled future that is less the Federation that he knows.
It's not a future. It's not a future.
It's an alternate reality.
It's an alternate not even that.
It is the end of the road less traveled, as Q says.
Think Back to the Future 2.
Yeah.
So something more like that. It's still the same time.
And I guess we're still trying to figure out how Picard's mom is involved. So
yeah,
it could be Back to the Future too.
Oh, did you watch? I don't want to give this, but I really enjoyed it. Did you watch the Red Letter Media review of the first episode of Picard?
I have not watched any of those.
I kind of agree with Rich Evans.
Okay, what did he say? What's his prediction for the direction? I've heard. Let me just say, I have heard a lot of people think the Borg Queen is Picard's mom.
That's right. That's what he said.
I fully disagree.
You don't think that's what it is?
I don't think that's what it is.
You think it's just a red herring that they're throwing out there?
I think it is.
Okay. I mean, that's fair, because they kind of did that with the first season.
Here's the deal.
Everybody kind of thought that the Romulans were the creators of the Borg, and everyone was thinking that.
Right. Yeah, they kind of threw that misdirection, and no, it was more the Romulans have this predication to hate artificial intelligence because it went wrong for them so early on.
Right.
And they didn't create the Borg or inspire the Borg, but the Borg were the fantastic ally that they could hate, is kind of how it worked out. A a lot of people are saying, well, the Borg Queen said, Jean-Luc, look up. On the bridge of the Stargazer, and you know, you got that flashback in episode 1. Remember, all of Jean-Luc's memories are in the Borg consciousness because Jean-Luc was a Borg.
See, that's what I thought. That's my too, theory.
Like, and so the Borg Queen, and she showed this as the Borg Queen, as the last individual living being of the Borg, when Dr. Girardi pulled her out of stasis, of the Borg Queen's gonna F with everyone.
Yeah. Because
she knows everything about everything that has ever been assimilated. And so, and she also has, she is transversely aware of timeline irregularities, is kind of the way that 7 of 9 described it.
See, that's another, like, just convenient explanation that they never...
No. Think of Star Trek First Contact. The Borg have time travel technology that they can just snap.
I understand that, but also in First Contact, the Borg were able to breathe in space, yet last season, they killed all the Borg by venting them in space.
Well, they vented them into space. Now, they're not... Well, you know, the Borg cannot live without their organic components. That's canon. That's the phrase that has been said. Like all symbiotic relationships, they have to have both the electronic and the organic components to live. If you vent someone into space and they're just going to float away, eventually those organic components are going to die.
But in First Contact, they were just walking without any suits on the top of the Enterprise and
we don't like
fighting everybody.
We don't like to think about how slow death in space would be. It's not the like
maybe they could like
it's not the
hold their breath better or something,
right. It's not the eyes pop out instantaneously and your blood boils. No, it's like a 20-minute death.
So it takes them a long time.
I think it takes them a long time.
Okay.
Or there's mitigations that those Borg had that
there's some reading in between the lines there, but okay, fair enough.
But you know, in season 1 of Picard, when they vented all the Borg into space. Yeah, maybe they all didn't die instantly, but I think a day and a half later they all would be dead, and it certainly wouldn't be a painless death. So,
well, I mean, they could have severed nerve endings or whatever, and not feel pain or whatever.
Surprised we're not talking about Strange New Worlds. I don't pay any attention to Discovery or its offshoots.
I am hoping upon hope.
I'm hoping Strange New Worlds turns out to be good.
I'm hoping that Strange New Worlds is not the overarching storyline, and it kind of goes back to like the episodic, because that's really where I think that would have
where Star Trek shines.
Strength. Exactly. And if they go back to that, I would be super happy, because there's a few episodes from a couple seasons of Discovery where I actually enjoyed that were like that.
Yeah.
But
the character development offshoots in the like even in the depths of the Dominion War in seasons 4, 5, and 6 of Deep Space Nine, we got to explore Quark's conscience. For like 3 episodes. We got holograms gone wrong. We've got Worf dealing with his feelings of rejection / like I can't care for Alexander the way he needs to be cared for, and so like I'm a bad parent, but I'm gonna keep going down that road because that's the Klingon way. Like that's what we're not getting with modern Star Trek, is we're not getting the character development and the deep philosophical arguments of oneself versus their own consciousness. In my opinion.
Sure.
But anyway, we've hardly gotten into the first 30 seconds of Picard. Yes. So moving on, Picard's obviously in this alternate reality, this reality that does exist if a stone was cast into a pond and created a ripple at a certain point in time. It's kind of the way they've explained it in the past. And apparently that ripple in time is 2024. Coincidentally, that's the time of the next presidential election.
Yes, I thought the exact same thing.
And we've became a fascist dictatorship, a xenophobic, fascist, I don't know. I don't know where Star Trek gets off thinking they can like put a voice into politics, but
Well, not on a single point in because this is supposed to take place when
2024 is when it's supposed
no
to.
2024, but Starfleet, or at least that time frame, was how far into the future? A couple thousand years into the future?
Oh no. This is the early 2400s in Star Trek Picard, because 2390 I think was TNG, 2320 was original series.
But still, like that single point in time to. I could see like someplace in the foundation of like maybe like Zafran Cochrane.
Well, that was 2063, so that's still 40 years in front of us.
Yes, but still, that would make more sense.
I mean, Zefram Cochrane is 20, somewhere walking around. We've got the Bell riots to look forward to.
Right, but like even if they had something about the foundation of the Federation, that something happened then, that would make more sense. Not 2 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if you remember, like, the original Star Trek where they had Khan, and Khan was supposed to happen in like 1997 or something like that, right? But that had no bearing on it was just like, oh, this is some relic of the past,
right?
And we just happened to stumble upon it, and they made a story about it. To me, that seemed a little too far in the past, and it kind of had no bearing to it. And I'm gonna still watch it, and I'm gonna reserve my judgment, but I thought it should have had more things to do with like the foundation of the Federation than anything else that would make more sense. But I don't know. I'll wait and see what they do with it.
Yeah. But we know from Star Trek canon that the founding of the Federation was essentially at first contact with Vulcan, when Zefram Cochrane launched his first warp ship. Vulcans were passing nearby and saw a warp signature and discovered that humans had discovered warp technology and could travel faster than light, and decided to land, introduce themselves, and immediately got introduced to rock and roll.
That was the real founding of the Federation. They got introduced to rock and roll. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that they gave the Vulcan salute, and then Zefram Cochrane shook their hand, and they're like, "What the crap? Don't touch me." Yeah, I mean, that's Star Trek canon up to that point. But apparently back in 2024, a couple of years before the Bell riots, of which Cisco apparently lived through, we have some junction or some pebble that was tossed into the pond that created a ripple that went outward. Who knows what they could possibly be in 2024. And
in Los Angeles of all places.
In Los Angeles of all places. I mean, whatever happens there, that decides the future of the free world.
Actually, I think that's when Mario World is supposed to open up, right? Is that what they said?
2023. Next year.
No, just okay. Next year.
Oh God, is it November? Please don't tell me Mario opens in November.
Mario goes crazy. Some Mario animatronics goes nuts.
Yeah,
it creates some kind of authoritarian Italian regime.
It's me, Mussolini.
It's me, Mario. I will crush you literally with my foot.
I will obey. Who are these Vulcan bastards? Yeah. By the way, I'm sorry to any Italian viewers I have right now. Anyway. So Picard awakes in this desolate hellhole of a xenophobic fascist regime, of which he is the general who has executed like every alien leader in the last 50 years.
Oh yeah, that was actually a kind of fun scene.
Yeah.
Where he's back at his chateau, and it's like, more like modern Gothic than old French style. But he has this room,
so French style,
full of Gothic French, with a whole room full of his the skulls of his enemies.
Yeah.
Which is like Gul Dukat and
Martok, Sarek.
Sarek, which wasn't his enemy, but
whatever. It was in that timeline, who was executed in full view of his wife and his son, Spock.
Nope. It wouldn't have been Spock, because Spock, his half human, half Vulcan, and if that timeline proceeded, humans wouldn't have intergone with Spock, and it would have been what was Spock's brother from the Star Trek movie, the one who went to go see God? What's his name? Crap, I can't remember. It would have been him.
Saren. No, that's Mass Effect.
No, not Saren, but Psyok or Spyok or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, it would have been him. Because Spock wouldn't have been born.
2.
Yeah, Spock wouldn't have been born.
Yeah,
because of that. Yeah.
Assuming that the human mother didn't still defect over to the Vulcans and have a bastard
that
child.
Could have happened, but they don't really explain. But
right,
one would assume. They even had a Ferengi skull there too,
right?
Which they don't really say who it was. But
has to be the Grand Negus.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, could be.
Yeah,
maybe
Grand Negus Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
Inconceivable.
Oh, there we go. Cyborg. That's what it was. Cyborg.
Cybok. Like 4 people. Thank you. Cybok. Yes, Cisco?
Cybok.
Yeah. Cybok. A dystopian Mario. It's a world where Bowser rules. So yeah, they wake up there. 7 of 9 is Annika Hansen, president of the Confederation.
Yes, not the Federation, the Confederation.
The Confederation. Way to go, Annika. Like, I'm just saying, if you're going to wake up in a fascist dystopia, why not be president?
Might as well be the leader, right? Yeah,
right.
Of course.
And married to the second commander in chief. Like, I don't know. Like, don't fornicate where you eat.
I guess
is I think the best explanation. Because at the end of the episode, it's her husband / lover who ends up boarding their escape craft, which they steal the Borg Queen so they can travel back in time, shoots Elron, carrier of the One Ring.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, no, he's Romulan. My bad. Yeah. It's a weird, twisty-turvy episode.
I mean,
did you not love Spot 47?
I kind of like that. Yes, that was kind of fun.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was okay. I don't know if they're going to reprise that at all.
I died laughing, and I want that as a screensaver.
I can't imagine that they.
You have 7 new messages.
I can't imagine they wouldn't put that in there without reintroducing it sometime later. I bet
they're
going to do it.
So Girardi apparently coded a virtual pet who is named Spot 47, which, by the way, is a reference to Elcar's 47, which is the GUI that you see around me right now. This is Elcar's 47. And it's also Spot, which is a reference to Data's cat from TNG. Yeah, I find it hilarious.
Yeah, no, that was pretty fun. I mean, they had some fun elements.
Yeah.
In this episode, definitely they had some overly convenient writing, which I was like, okay, I get it. They want to expedite the story, but it wasn't horrible. It was a little eye rolling, but it was still fine.
I don't think it was terribly bad, though.
I understand that they had to make it so that
you have to progress the story, and can I just say a main problem with modern television? They adhere to old television rules. Your episode has to be 47 minutes long.
Yes.
You're not airing on broadcast television.
Yeah.
I don't give a crap if you're 32 minutes or an hour and 45. Tell the story the way the story needs to be told.
I mean,
that's one thing Mandalorian gets right is you get everything from an hour and 5 minutes to 42 minutes, and however the story needs to fit for that week, that's how it fits in there.
Yeah.
And no, Picard is CBS, old school, Paramount. No, a 1 hour episodic 10 episode series means a 47 minute runtime.
They could have split this. They could have split this up into 2 episodes. It still would have been good, and they could have had a little bit better explanation about things. I mean, the very first thing was like I kind of liked it because right after they had the whole scene with the skulls and Picard's thing, they went over to Seven of Nine, who's now president. And there's like, okay, we're gonna have the briefing on the Vulcan War, and they already talk about Commander Sisko or General Sisko. General Sisko. And she's like,
he needs more of a presence.
He needs more. Yeah. Well, they just mentioned him. They didn't show him, but whatever.
Give DS9 some love.
At least mention him, right?
Right. The problem with giving DS9 love is there's too many aliens on that.
But then she just conveniently scrolls the screen and sees Rios's name, and she's like, "No, I need to talk to this guy.
I want to talk to someone who's like in the thick of it."
Yeah.
Give me Corporal
Rios. Just conveniently scrolled and saw his name. Oh, that was just convenience, right? Just there's
7?
so much
Chris.
coincidence.
Oh, thank Christ.
Yeah. And I understand for expedience reasons they kind of have to make it like that, but they could have, if they wanted to split it up into episodes, they could have wrote it out a little bit better.
Yeah. But I guess that goes with my problem with season 1 as well, is some of the episodes seemed rushed because they didn't have enough time to tell the story they wanted, and other episodes seemed stretched because they had to fit the 47-minute runtime that was required by their contract.
Yeah.
Versus like I didn't like the fact that Rafi had to go to the planet and see her son who had a wife and a baby and that helped explain Rafi's character. And if you want to explain that in an entire 25 episode season, you can do that with DS9 or TNG.
Yeah, exactly. That would fit. And you could wrap that around some kind of scenario or something like that, where it fit in with that. That would work, because that's kind of how TNG and how Star Trek was.
Right. You can take 3 or 4 episodes a season simply for one character's development. But no, they had to. Unless you're Voyager, in which you just doesn't matter one episode to the next.
No, I know.
Harry Kim's still an ensign.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
That would be hilarious if they.
So how are you different from the time that you left the Alpha Quadrant to the time that you got back? Well, Tom and B'Elanna had a 1/4 Klingon baby, and we found a Borg who turned human again.
Yeah, that would have been awesome if they had like Ensign Kin in the.
So did Tom ever reunite with his dad? No,
no idea. They should have had Ensign Kim in this alternate universe, but he was still an ensign. Right. Like he's no matter where he's at, he's always an ensign.
I so want Star Trek Picard to make some mention of like Captain Worf and he's on his ship and he goes, what's our sensor reading? And Ensign Kim just goes, "We see no ships within visual range, sir." Just like this dejected.
Yeah. He's always an ensign. He's always over. Like, that'd be hilarious.
That'd be amazing.
That would be you know what? They should put that
in every universe. You suck.
That would be perfect for Lower Decks. Something like that. They would just have him show up and be like, "Oh, here's ensign."
Because I mean, they introduce Tom Paris as like he's on a plate, for God's sake. Just have like some random ship flying through, and like we're meeting the. Another California class ship, like the Cerritos is just a tugboat kind of thing. That's the joke. We're meeting the San Diego here before too long, and Ensign Kim will be our liaison. Welcome to the San Diego. Let me show you to the bridge. Just some dejected mid-40s.
Yeah.
Didn't you have career aspirations? Like, weren't you on the Voyager? Oh yeah, that.
So what was your overall opinion of the episode, though?
I really enjoyed it. Star Trek Picard season 1. I really enjoyed episode 1, and then it picked back up around episode 4, and then it petered off towards episode 6, and then 9 and 10 were amazing. Like we got 4 or 5 good to great episodes, and then 4 to 5 that were just kind of. They're telling story, but they're not great. There's not a lot of character development. There's not a lot of story here that needed to be told, at least in the way that they told it. There's a couple of plot jumps that I didn't buy. There's a couple of, but overall, like I give Picard a C+ for season 1.
That's fair. Yep.
C+, B-, somewhere right in that range. I enjoyed it. I watched it twice. I'll probably watch it again in another run through. I enjoyed it. Okay. Not great, but I enjoyed it. So far, season 2, I will say the first 2 episodes are like B+.
Okay.
Which I couldn't say that about Picard season 1.
Okay.
I will say episode 1 B+ to A-, and I will say episode 2 B+. Because they're telling a little bit more complete story. There's a little bit more build up into the main conflict.
Mhm.
There's things that are leaving you hanging episode to episode
Mhm.
that are actually life and death, that are like Elrond got shot and he's sitting there dying, and Raffi is crying, and 7 of 9's husband is about to shoot her in the face and threatening Picard with like, your legacy is going to be traitor to the Confederation for rescuing a Borg prisoner. Like, it's a little cliche.
Yeah, it's very cliche, yes.
But it fits that timeline, and it fits what Q would do to them. And I can't really argue against a Q alternate reality. Like there's some underlying theme that still makes sense in this universe that season 1 didn't have that cohesiveness.
Right.
And I hope that continues through the rest of the season.
I'm pretty close to what you are. Just I'm a 1 notch below.
Okay.
So I'm more like a BB- is kind of.
And I think that's totally fair.
Yeah, there's like a lot of like things that I thought they could have done better with the last episode. It was entertaining, but I felt it was rushed. There was a lot of just convenient writing. It just seemed to be to me. But overall, I do think it was still entertaining. There was enough fan surface to it, enough new things going on that kind of kept you interested into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just same thing, just a little bit lower. Maybe I'm a little more cynical. I don't know.
Yeah. Marty says, I refuse to watch it, period, just because of Whoopi. I will say Whoopi's only in episode 1, at least thus far.
She's only in episode 1. And the thing is,
it's 5 minutes.
I do have a problem with that, with Whoopi's showing. It was just seemed to be shoved in there to put Whoopi in there.
It really was.
It was just shoved in there to be shoved in there.
And there were explanations made that didn't need to be made.
Yeah. At least they didn't make it like the season 1 where they put Riker and Troy in there.
That was so shoehorned in.
They put a whole episode. They shoot in a whole episode with them in there.
Yeah.
Which is
really just Riker making pizza. Red alert!
Yeah, I was like,
sorry, burnt tomato. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah. That was just dumb. Yeah.
Like I said, it petered out about episode 6 and picked up in episode 9.
It was shoved in there, but it was only, like you said, 5 minutes.
Right. And honestly, as far as Guinan goes, it was a pretty good scene. Now, think what you will about Whoopi, but there is still some separation of the artist from the art. And honestly, I can stomach 5 minutes of watching Whoopi to watch 100 minutes of Patrick Stewart. Like,
it was fine.
And
although I have to say, this is another, not anything to do with the writing or anything like that, and not to be any detriment to Patrick Stewart or anything like that, but he is kind of really showing his age in these things.
Yes.
And I heard like next season is going to be like the last season. They're only doing 3 seasons.
Yeah, they're only doing 3,
which is probably good because he's
definitely 90.
He's looking really old in these things.
Yeah.
I mean, he's noticeably slower.
Yeah, there's in episode 1 you saw this with the Borg starting to come through the anomaly, and this is Admiral Jean-Luc Picard responding to the Borg hail, or to your hail, and God, he was slurring half of his words, and
it was old man yells at nebulous cloud. It's kind of what it was.
Yes. Bravo.
Yeah.
I don't know if you came up with that or if it's a meme, but I applaud you either way.
No, I don't know.
That's great. Yeah, he's definitely starting to show it. And as much as I love Jean-Luc, I would also love to see other characters start to pick up that torch. Yeah. And I love seeing 7 of 9 and Girardi and Rios.
Yeah, Rios is a good character too. I mean, he could. I could
follow Rios for another 4 seasons.
Yeah, it's like they have some decent characters.
Give me Star Trek Stargazer and give me Rios at the helm of a traditional Star Trek show. And I'm not talking a CBS Discovery, subscribe to us online so you can see sequel database errors in a Star Trek show. I'm talking like give the original Star Trek writers some room to grow some characters and put Rios at the helm of that. I think it'd be a great series.
That'd be pretty fun. Yeah. But only time will tell. We'll see if that happens. There was actually kind of an interesting thing that they brought up I'm going to go back to the Red Letter Media, where they talked about kind of the progression of Star Trek and how they only really had one Star Trek show going at once at any single time. I mean, there's some small overlap because I think Next Generation
from Next Gen to DS9 to Voyager.
There was like some small overlap.
There was a 3-year overlap in both runs, and so TNG ran up to season 4, and DS9 started with TNG in season 4.
Right.
In season 4 of DS9, TNG went off the air, and they actually struck the TNG studio and started filming Voyager as of DS9's season 4, right. And that's why Worf moved over and whatnot. And so through the 90s, you had that 6-year middle gap where there were 2 shows simultaneously running.
Right. So at any one point, there was only 2.
Right.
But now we have like Voyager, Picard, Lower Decks. We have the
Discovery, Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, so we got 4, and then we're gonna get 5.
Yeah.
5 simultaneous Star Treks.
Yeah.
They might be spreading themselves a little too thin.
And
now they're
they have the budget
coming out.
And the people who want to carry on the legacy and aren't just castaway CSI writers, because that's what's dooming Discovery. Is they're trying to make it too much mainstream when this really is a niche sci-fi thing. And I'm not saying that as an exclusionist. I'm not saying that as someone who is fanboying over like, well, 90s Trek was best Trek. What I'm saying is, if you make every show like every other show, your show is going to fail.
Yeah.
If you take CSI's formula and you apply it to Scorpion, but you do it with half-assed writing and everything is a sequel break, and we need to stretch an Ethernet cable from a 747 to a Lamborghini in episode 1, I'm sorry, I'm out. If you can take some people who respect the craft, respect the art, respect the canon of Star Trek, who can actually write some stories for it, I think you'll be successful.
Yeah.
And so far, I'm not seeing that with Discovery. I am seeing that with Picard.
Discovery. I'm seeing it a little more with Picard.
Not entirely, but more.
Not entirely, but more. Yes, I agree. I do agree.
6, you forgot Prodigy.
No, I said, well, I couldn't remember the name. I said
Prodigy.
the Janeway thing.
The Janeway. You said Voyager.
I said the Janeway thing.
You said Voyager.
Did I say Voyager?
Yeah.
Okay, the
It's
Janeway
Prodigy.
thing, the Voyager thing. Yeah, Prodigy. Okay, Prodigy. That's what I meant.
Yeah, we've got Picard, Prodigy, Discovery, Lower Decks, and
then Brave New Worlds.
And Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds.
We've got 5. Yep.
Is it Strange New Worlds or Brave New Worlds?
Strange New Worlds. Yeah. Yeah, if you want something to be successful, you need to work with what made it successful.
Exactly.
And
I think that's why a lot of people just hate Discovery, because I don't feel that the people who are writing it actually are Trek fans.
I feel the same way. I feel it's the CSI Miami and the Scorpion writers who got fired too early.
Yeah.
Who
they're
are
like, well, let's just go over here.
Now trying to write sci-fi, and they're like, well, how would we explain this tech problem? Oh, I've heard sequel is a great way to explain a tech problem.
Yeah, I know.
You know what? If you just swap out sequel for the bio bags, like, I'll fucking believe it.
Yeah, something.
Demonetized. There it is. Yes.
Although I do enjoy Lower Decks. Lower Decks is fun.
Lower Decks is fantastic.
And again, for completely different reasons.
The reason Lower Decks is fantastic is they respect the canon. They respect the canon and make fun of it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They respect it, but they poke fun at it still at the same time.
Right.
Which is kind of fun.
Makes it great.
Yeah.
Fully agree. Anyway, we are 20 minutes past the hour.
Mm-hmm.
and I've got to pee like a racehorse.
Yeah.
So
I knew it.
I think it is time to call this
All
a
right.
night. Thank you
It
so much
is.
for watching episode 227 of Talking Heads. Every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Subscribe to Craft Computing if you haven't done so already. Make sure to drop this video a like. Smash that like button if you want, if that's your thing. Follow me on Twitter at Craft Computing. Join the Patreon down in the video description. Get exclusive access to the Discord server where you can talk with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there and see us in the after party in about 10 minutes. Steve, anything else?
Oh, nope. I'm good.
Sweet.
Let's do it. I'm gonna let you
That's
go
why I
pee.
like you, is you don't do social media.
I don't.
You're just like, yeah, you said your thing. I'm good. Let's go.
I'm good. Let's go.